Mr. Poe, so good to see you again.
Better not to see you.
I went to a dance last week in Northampton. There was plenty of girls there as fine as you'd wish. There was one pretty maiden a-chewing tobacco, just like a young kitten a-chewing fresh fish. Evening, Eddie.
Nippy night indeed. Seems to be a storm brewing.
Aye, nor'easter they say, and coming strong. The usual?
No. I'll have a port tonight.
Ah, warming the cockles of your soul.
Well, my soul does seem to be indeed in peril tonight.
Oh? What's that about, lad?
Lad? I believe I'm a bit beyond that stage now, don't you think, Vinny?
Ah, now, Edward. It seems only yesterday you were a lad. How I do remember your dear mother.
Ah, I remember. Didn't she used to sing in our old theater upstairs?
What's that rap-tap-tapping you're doing there, lad?
Rapping, tapping at my chamber door.
What's that you say?
Nevermore!
Nevermore! Nevermore? Nevermore! Barkeeper! More!
I've got it! Rapping at my chamber door.
Oh, Lordy, is it a writing you're doing for us then?
Boy, what's going on here? Is it a performance of sorts?
Oh, it's my own Mr. Poe reading one of his rhymes.
Then make it lively, Mr. Poet. Else my mighty ear will be treating you to some saltier rhyme before his robe run dry.
It is another writing he's doing for us, all right?
Yes, it is, madam. Let me read it to you. So faintly came tapping at my chamber. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember. It was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow. Vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow. Sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore. Nameless here, forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before, so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Only this, and nothing more. Prophet," said I, "thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, where the tempest sent or where the tempest tossed thee here ashore, tell the soul with sorrow laden, if within the distant Aden, it shall clasp a sainted maiden whom the angels name Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." "Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend," I shrieked, upstarting. "Get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black tomb as token of that lie that soul has spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from out my door." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." and the raven flitting still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore.
Buddy, you must listen to this. This is the theory of the beginning of the world. It begins with a spark from God. It is we all descend from the same spark, and this spark, this volition of God, extends into the universe, and gravity is simply the light coming back to God.
That Eddie, what a dreamer he is with all his theories. Now all this Eureka business, he says, why are we here? He wants to know. He wants to know, where did the stars and the moon and the sun come from? Well, God made them on the 4th day, of course. But no, Eddie has his own ideas. He says they all exploded. Boom. And there suddenly is the whole universe, a sky full of stars, just boom. What a dreamer. And this wild idea is all he wants to write about now. I say to him, Eddie, maybe you should finish the story you promised at the Gazette. They're going to pay you money for it. And Lord knows we could use the money. But no, he says, Muddy dear, my brain is bursting with this. I must write it. This is important. This is what I want to be known for, not all those dreary, dark stories. He doesn't think his stories are important. No, Muddy dear, this is what I want to write about. This is what I want to be known for. This is important. All this Eureka thing. Eureka, he says. Well, I say, well, what is Eureka? What does that mean? Eureka, he says, I have got it. That's what Eureka means. Well, I think I get it too. I never could restrain him once he was on to something. And that's the way it always goes. He dreams and I figure out some way to put food on the table and pay the bills. When we run completely out of money, I put my basket over my arm and I go to a friend or a neighbor. And I don't leave their door until I get a donation. If not cash, then food, bread or butter. I always walk away with something. And it's that way with his work. I'm the one who gets his stories published. I take his manuscripts and I go to the offices and I smile at everyone whether I like them or not, and I get his stories printed. He is my dreamer, all right, but I get it too. I know that one day he will be a famous author. And until that time, it's my duty to take care of him and make sure that he is safe to dream. It's my boy, Eddie. What a dreamer he is, with all his theories.
What will be Mr. Griswold's fate? Forgotten, Save only by those whom he has injured and insulted, he will sink into oblivion, without leaving a landmark to tell us that he once existed. Or, if he is spoken of hereafter, he will be quoted as the unfaithful servant who abused his trust. Come in, Edgar.
Did you read it? Did you read it yet?
Well, yes I did, Edgar. And frankly, well, I think it's a lot of humbug.
Humbug? It's a concept, like Reynolds' idea of the hollow earth. It's a hypothesis of the possibility of the universe.
Hollow earth. Oh, humbug, poppycock, and balderdash. Fairy tale.
Fairy tales. Are you forgetting Pym? That made us some money.
It took you ages, and it's never been as successful as your short story. Yes, Edgar. You need to concentrate on your short stories. Then, when we bring out the collection, we'll sell thousands. You're losing your grip. You're losing your notoriety.
You dangle that collection like an ever-ripening carrot in front of my eyes, but you do nothing to make it a reality. I'm tired of these short stories. I'm tired of writing stories. This is what I want to do. Eureka, the original unity of all things, the beginning of the universe from a single particle, and then, just like that, Rufus, just like that.
Yes, well, that's all a bit much for me, Edgar. I'm a businessman, and that business is publishing, and I know what will sell and what will not.
I know that, Rufus, but I am just bursting to finish this.
As usual, I need to pull you back to reality. You need to work at putting food on the table, Edgar.
Yes, Rufus, it's true. You always pull me back. You're a good publisher.
You know that you need guidance, Edgar. Structure.
I need to not be worried about money and putting food on my table.
Ah, you need to make me your trustee. I will handle your affairs. I will set you right.
You think me a cad, sir? Why would I trust you with my affairs?
Well, I do wish you wouldn't take such pot shots at my other writers.
A hack is a hack, and they don't call me the tomahawk without reason.
Yes, but must you tomahawk my other writers? You know that I also need them to make money in order for me too to put food on the table.
It's how I do manage from time to time to eat.
And pray tell, good sir, how is it that you think I would help you with sentiments like this? The poets and poetry of America. Did anyone read such nonsense? We never did, and shall hereafter issue everything that bears Rufus Wilmot Griswold's name. Mr. G belongs to the class called Toady. Really, sir? Where is Professor Walter, Morton McMichael, Robert Morris, another sweet poet, the Reverend T.H. Stockton, and Dr. English? All these gentlemen should be gratified at their non-appearance in the volume before us. For if ever such a thing as literary ruin existed or exists, 9/10 of the poets of America are ruined forever by the praise of Mr. Griswold. I rest my case.
I stand by those views. Where were those men in this paltry work? As the saying goes, if the shoe fits.
Well, at least my shoes are not threadbare.
It is your greed that feeds you, sir.
And Mr. Tomahawk, would this not incite a little softening of the blow? It will, no doubt, put some food on the table and likewise replenish your footwear.
You are a cad, sir. But as you say, these things must be done.
What need have I of your misfortunes of the pen? This Eureka nonsense is for the lunatics, not for me. I and Edgar. No one knows the truth of our relationship but we.
This is treachery, sir.
but a fortuitous one for you, my friend. For we shall go down in history, connected, you clinging to my coattails. You have my word. But I shall sign no papers with you ever.
Then so be it!
On arriving here last night from Norfolk, I received both your letters, including Mrs. Lewis's.
I cannot tell you the joy they gave me. To learn at least that you are well and hopeful. May God forever bless you, my dear, dear Muddy.
Elmira has just gotten home from the country. I spent last evening with her. I think she loves me more devotedly than anyone I ever knew, and I cannot help loving her in return.
Nothing is definitely settled. And it will not do to hurry matters. I lectured on Norfolk on Monday.
And cleared enough to settle my bill here at the Madison House with $2 over.
I had a highly fashionable audience, but Norfolk is a small place, and there were 2 exhibitions the same night.
Next Monday I lecture again here and expect to have a large audience.
On Tuesday I start for Philadelphia to attend to Mrs. Loud's poems.
And possibly on Thursday I may start for New York.
If I do, I will go straight over to Mrs. Lewis's and send for you. It will be better for me not to go to Fordham. Don't you think so? Write immediately, in reply and direct to Philadelphia.
For fear I should not get the letter. sign no name, and address it to E.S.T. Gray, Esquire. If possible, I will get married before I start, but there is no telling.
Give my dearest love to Mrs. L.
My poor, poor Muddy. I am still unable to send you even $1. But keep up, heart. I hope that our troubles are nearly over.
I saw John Beatty in Norfolk. God bless you and protect you, my own darling Muddy.
Don't forget to write immediately to Philadelphia so that your letter will be there when I arrive. The papers here are praising me to death, and I have been received everywhere with enthusiasm. Be sure and preserve all the printed scraps I have sent you and keep up my file of the literary world.
May God forever bless you, my dear, dear Muddy.
I hear you have a job for me.
Aye, that's right, I do. Here's what I'd like you to do for me.
And what's in it for me?
Here's this for a starter. And anything else you can get your hands on. And just look at him. His Royal Highness, is he? He doesn't look so high and mighty now, does he?
Boy, you're right about that.
See if he'll take a little more.
What is this stuff?
Oh, it's right potent, all right. The best in town. And I put a little something extra in it for him. It'll chase all his demons away.
No, no.
Here, Eddie, sign this. Aye, and that does it. Take him out in the back and strip him and throw him in the gutter where he belongs.
My dignity! My dignity!
Put this on. You're not a bad sort, Mr. Poe, but a man's got to eat. And money is money.
Sit yourself down here.
Thank you for seeing me on such short notice, Mr. Griswold. I have lost all that was dear to me.
Indeed. It is a terrible loss. For you and for all of us.
But I haven't come here for your sympathy, sir. I have come to make you an offer.
And what might that be?
Sir, I want you to have the privilege of publishing all my son's work in a single volume.
My dear Mrs. Clem, I only wish that I could be of service to you in this matter. But I have other obligations.
But this will be a wonderful book. Think of it. Eddie's life work collected between two covers.
I am sorry, but my health has not been good, and I must conserve my energy for more worthwhile projects. Your son's works are already in publication.
Oh, but not all of them. I have manuscripts which have never been published. Oh, this will be a feather in your cap.
My dear, If there were anything within my power, I would gladly do it for you. Before his death, Edgar himself asked me to undertake the publication of his works, and I was compelled to deny it.
Mr. Griswold, I am alone in the world now. I have lost all that I had to cling to and love. Without this income, I shall be destitute as well. I will lose my home. Please don't deny me this. I've exhausted my resources. I have nowhere else to turn.
Perhaps I could extend myself and undertake something solely for your benefit. You say that you have unpublished manuscript?
Oh yes, there are so many papers, poems, letters, even a few longer works.
Mrs. Clemm, I will do this for you. We will draw up a contract giving me power of attorney immediately, and I will send for the manuscripts this very afternoon.
Mr. Griswold, I don't understand. What kind of contract is this?
It states that I shall be Edgar's literary executor and superintend the publication of his works.
But I myself have always attended to his literary business.
You must trust me. I will, of course, consult you, but I must have absolute control if I am going to undertake this.
I don't know what to say.
Mrs. Clemm, this will support you for the rest of your life. You will have no more financial worries. I will attend to everything. And here is a little something to tide you over until you receive some revenue from the publication.
Mr. Griswold, you relieve my mind. You're so kind to care for an old woman like myself. I'd be lost without you.
And as it happens, I already have such a document. It was drawn up at Edgar's insistence before his death. And now, you have only to sign here, and all will be taken care of.